Hello everyone, my name is Erin and today I have yet another video for you. So recently I have watched Mayana Reed's and Boston Reed's favorite books of all time video, and me being the copycat that I am, I just had to go film one myself. I have been wanting to make a favorites video forever, but I am very fickle and I am very easy, so I knew I would have more favorites in the future. Like for example, if I would have made a video like this a year ago, I would have had like Tahira Mafi in it, and like I love her, fashion icon. I mean, whenever I'm on her Instagram, it's just so much serotonin fills me up. But reading her books these days, it's like, Tahira, no. With love and adoration, but no. Things like that have always made me hesitate. But also, I just feel like the week after I film a video like this, I'm going to read yet another series that I love, and I'm going to be so frustrated that it wasn't in the video that I just made and posted, you know? Now, I wish I would have made a video like this earlier, because looking at the stack of books on my bed right here, I am kind of concerned about my taste, my ability to spot the badness in books. Looking at how easy I am to please just lets me know that there is definitely an STD in my future. So the first series I'm going to be talking about today is a series that I just want to get out the way because I think it's like my default book series. You just know how when it comes to certain booktubers, you're just always going to like associate a certain book or series with that person. That is what the Throne of Glass series is for me, I think. What an emotional journey for me. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about it because I talk about it in like every other video. But for those who do not know, basically this series is allegedly about a girl about a girl that's an assassin, right? And one day this prince that's kind of spoiled just wants to piss off his dad, and it's like, hey, there's a competition happening, and if you win it, you can get your freedom back. And she's like, what's the catch? And he's like, oh, you'll just be a glorified assassin for the king, because crime is okay if it's being done by the government. I love this series. This is the series that made me get into reading and start loving and enjoying it. It's the first one that's made me think, what other books are out there? And I would not be sitting in front of you today if it was not for Miss Sarah J. Maas. When I first read this book in like 7th grade, my first thoughts were iconic, revolutionary, one of a kind. Do I still feel that way? I don't know. That was the past. Right now it's 2020. I'm not even living in that. I'm living in the moment. So if it's 2021, where am I going with this? Just shoot me. Somebody, please just. The next series I have is one that, unlike Throne of Glass, I don't think a lot of people know that I love it, but I do, and that is The Raven Cycle. I tried to read this stupid book so many freaking times, and I could not get into it. Me and Miss Maggie Stiefvater were just not getting along. I thought that she was boring and bland and dry, and maybe she is, but then that's so mean. I like Maggie Stiefvater. She's actually very cool. Anywho, it took me like my 3rd or 4th time listening to the audiobook to finally get hooked in there. And once I did, I was down to listen. But you may be wondering, what is The Raven Cycle about? Well, young Skywalker, The Raven Cycle is about many things. But I suppose the main thing is there's like this dead Welsh king, right? Are you following? And this homeboy named Gansey, who I love, my honey bunny, would die for him, truly, on a ley line perhaps. He wants to find this Welsh king, right? Am I right? Yes, I am. And basically him and his family are doing everything in their power to find this dead Welsh king, because so help me God, they're gonna do it, right? And then there's Blue, who comes from this family of psychics, and she was told growing up that when she kisses her true love, they will die. And she just starts to kind of like tag along with them, and it's like Stranger Things and yeah, mystery, yeah, magic, and it's all very fun and immersive and whimsical and also kind of suspenseful. This book series also has some of my favorite friendships, mainly because they're not perfect and we just get to see so many like layers and sides to these relationships, and it just makes them even more precious to me and meaningful. And lastly, The Raven King is one of my favorite series endings of all time. I was left very satisfied, and that is not something a lot of women can say. The next series I had was one I actually just recently reread, and it was as amazing as the first time. Anywho, it's the Foxhole Court by Nora Sakavic. Listen, my love for this stupid series, this stupid literal fan fiction, by the way, before it was changed up a little bit, you know, has ruined my life once again. If you don't know, the Foxhole Court follows these two men that are running from the Japanese mafia. Very dangerous and very pure, and yet they put their trust in a 5-foot psychotic Blondie and his one-man army, and we just all kind of go along with it. Meanwhile, hashtag ballless life is in full force because they're playing XC and they're just trying to get the championship but also survive until after the championship because ball is literally life for them, right? It's all very lovely. All the pieces, the very random ones, just kind of flow together to this hot mess of a series. There are plenty of things that I love about the Foxhole Court. For starters, the relationships in this series are golden. Even if you don't really hone in on some of them, you still see them evolve in every single book. And by the time you have this found family, you have truly just worked for it, and it makes it so much more satisfying. Also, one of my OTPs is in this book series, and one of my favorite things about the relationship and just Nora Sakovic's writing in general is that it's very subtle. Everything in this series is more show than tell, and I really appreciate that. When you're a reader and you can just easily recognize love and trust and care because the author writes it so well versus them just telling you that it's there. Furthermore, I do not like sports, and yet I myself has become a ballless life person. Listen, XC is a fictional sport, but it is the only sport that I have ever invested myself into. Forget my years of basketball. Truthfully, the amount of love that I have for the Foxhole Court and many other people is somewhat surprising because there are a lot of coincidences and unexplained backgrounds and so many heavy topics discussed in this series, but there's just something about it that is so fulfilling that you can't really look away. I will say that if you plan on reading the Foxhole Court, you should 100% definitely, please do not do this. Read all the trigger warnings. Off the top of my head, I can tell you that some of them are murder, rape, abuse, homophobia, and plenty more. If you are interested in reading the series, I will link a list of more trigger warnings down below because it is definitely a very heavy series and there are plenty of dark things about it that I just don't want you to be blindsided when stuff hits the fan. Next up, I have a series that I have been desperately wanting to reread recently. But sadly, I don't read anymore. I just talk about reading and hope that one day I actually get around to it. And that is The Wrath in the Dawn by Renee Ahdieh. If you do not know, The Wrath in the Dawn is a retelling of 1001 Nights about a girl named Shazi who is trying to avenge her friend that was killed by a murderous king. Every night he takes a new bride and by morning they're dead. It just so happens that on her quest to kill him, she starts to realize that maybe he's not the monster he seems to be and tries to get behind the mystery of why all these women have died. Renee Ahdieh writes a magical world that is so immersive yet also so simple. She explains it perfectly, but at the same time she never gives us info dumps, which is a problem that I have with a lot of series and a lot of books. Miss Renee Ahdieh knew exactly what she was doing, and she wrote one of my favorite fictional worlds of all time now, even though there's only 2 books, so that's pretty impressive. Also, the plot itself is so uncomplicated, and I love that because so many times you just have these side plots that never actually tie into the actual plot that I see in a lot of book series, even some over here, and it irritates the crap out of me. But you know, Miss Renee Ahdieh always got to the point, and I just really love that about her. Lastly, the romance in this book series is one of the best I have read. Not only is it angsty, but it is also so very passionate. It's palpable. You can just touch it. I gotta love The Wrath in the Dawn. It was never The Wrath in the Yawn. The next book series I have is yet another book series I have reread this year and still found myself loving, and that is Angelfall by Susan E. If you don't know what Angelfall is about, it follows a girl living in a post-apocalyptic California where pretty much the angels have destroyed the world. Judgment Day has not come, and the humans will not live to see it. Were we ever going to live during Judgment Day? I don't know. Boy, you're going to hell! I have so much love for this series. It's so quick. It is a perfect blend of fun, humor, romance, drama, angst, horror. This book right here is terrifying. I promise you, you will be wanting to go cuddle with your mommy after you read this book. After I read the Penguin and the End of Day series, I knew that God was real. Oh boy, you're going to hell! She is a woman. Her name is Susan E. And I am begging her to write another series because this is not enough. The next series I have is one that just snuck its way into my tiny frail little Grinch heart, and that is the Truly Devious series by Maureen Johnson. If you do not know, this series follows a girl named Stevie Bell who is very passionate about true crime. Her favorite case, however, is the one about the Allingham family, also known as the Truly Devious case. One day she gets into a school that was founded by the family, which is Allingham Academy, and she vows to solve the case. However, it just so happens that a new modern case is taking place, and she feels herself needing to solve both before time runs out. I never, ever, ever loved mystery novels. They were not for me. I did not like the suspense. I like to know things. I'm a knower, not a guesser. But it just so happened that I loved guessing when it came to this book series. And honestly, Maureen Johnson, she just really took me on another level. Away, a different place. I don't even understand why I read this series in the first place, considering how I felt about mysteries. It was probably God herself, Susan Eve's doing, that just really pushed me to pick up Truly Devious. I would also just love to point out too that The Vanishing Stair is now my favorite book of all time. That's a very bold statement. I explained how I feel about declaring favorites earlier in this video, yet here we are. It gave me confidence, it gave me security, and nobody else has been able to give me that. I'm looking at you, mother. The next series I have is one that everybody and their mom knows about, and everybody and their mom kind of loves, and you know, I'm okay with that because the more the merrier. And that is To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han. I would like to start off by saying something that is very important to me, and that is the fact that Peter Kavinsky is a blonde. This may seem random to you, but I would just like to point out that throughout my whole entire time reading this series, I just imagined him as a blonde person. You can imagine my shock when I reread it for the first time and I realized he's a brunette. And also my shock when he was casted as the brunette Noah
I was trying to crack a joke and say centipede, but I couldn't, so that's what I get for being me.
Who is not a blonde, and that is what brunette means, not a blonde.
I just feel like I need to clarify that I do not have a problem with brunettes. I think most of y'all know I am joking, but then I was just thinking, like, what if there's that one brunette that thinks that I really just hate y'all, and I don't, okay? I don't know.
But I'm here to tell you that since I myself wrongfully imagined him as a blonde my first time reading the series, that means that he is in fact that. Next up we have my favorite book series of all time, the Addicted series. So the overarching plot of the Addicted series is that you have these two addicts, Lily and Lauren, who by using a fake relationship have been helping each other cover up their addictions of sex and alcohol. However, one day their fake relationship becomes real. As their feelings for each other get deeper, they start to realize the severity of each other's addictions, but they are so dependent on one another that in order for one person to get better, so does the other, and they both have to learn to sacrifice their own addiction for the other. I know that this series probably sounds very depressing and just sad. It's so far from it. I would say that that's mainly book one, Addicted to You, but as the series progresses, it just becomes mainly a family series. Not like family friendly. No, get that out of here. I don't care about the kids. Forget your children. I will eat them. But it starts to focus on the family of Lily and Lauren, also known as the Core Six amongst the fandom. You just get to watch these main six characters grow over literal years. And it's just so powerful by the end of it all. It's just so fulfilling and it's just so much fun. It's actually one of the funniest series I've ever read. You just wouldn't expect to get so much unparalleled joy from a series that initially starts off about two addicts. I love the relationships in this book, which I know I talk about all the time. Seriously, all six characters have such unique and intricate relationships with each other that it's like everybody's connected and there's never a sixth wheel, and it's awesome. Especially the relationships between the men in this series is not this quiet love or quiet mutual respect that you usually see from males in book series. No, it's so much more than that. The men in this book series are sensitive yet strong, and I have to give it to KBR and the woman. Okay, the girls in this series, yes, I love them. They're great. I would die for them. I would die for any of these characters. And yeah, the Addicted series, I just love it so much. And as much as I will jokingly, and that's not, but yeah, these are the series. I just love it so much. I don't even know why. So the next book series I have is actually my second favorite book series of all time, and that is the Infernal Devices. If you do not know, the Infernal Devices follows a girl named Tessa who lives in 1800s London and is one day kidnapped. Because of this, she is dragged into a world of shadow hunters, vampires, werewolves, warlocks, and just other things that she does not understand. And while she's navigating what is basically a different universe to her, she's also trying to figure out who she is, what she is, and why that's so. You know, the romance is great in this book series, and I think this is one of the romances that you guys have definitely heard about already because it's that wonderful. I mean, honestly, Cassandra Clare has done plenty of wrong. I mean, there's the immoral instruments.
The way I stole this joke from Caleb Joseph.
There's just so much unparalleled love between the characters in this book series, and it just needs to be acknowledged. So forgive me for being so redundant, but I have to talk about it. If I were to sit here and talk about this book series without mentioning the romance at least once, boring, dry, stale. You might as well just call me Melania Trump. Just nothing. Not even a single expression on my face. So next up we have a stack of following books, all a part of the same series. Give it up for Miss Kate Daniels! Woo! I'm sleep deprived. I just love Kate Daniels, okay? Listen, Kate Daniels lives in an apocalyptic Atlanta. Magic and technology are fighting for dominance. Sometimes magic overrules, sometimes technology overrules. But either way, Kate Daniels is a mercenary, and her job is to solve the issues that comes along with magic. She's funny, she's witty, she's badass, she's cool. She's all the things that you would really love to see in anyone. I've actually reread it twice. Kinda. I have read every single book except for the last book. Why? Because I'm afraid. I'm not ready to say goodbye. I just talked about the Addicted series. I like to point out that I read that series twice. Only read the last book in the series once for the same reason. I will get to it. But until I am ready, I will not be unpacking it. So deal with it. I know by the covers, Kate Daniels looks horrible. But I promise you, it has one of the best magical worlds I've ever read. Some of the best characters, definitely the best heroines. Kate Daniels is like my favorite YA heroine ever. Yeah, it's Kate. That's my girl. That's my homie. I would die for her. Kate Daniels is just immersive and fun and mysterious and everything a book series should be. I cannot recommend it enough. It's probably in my top 5. Where at? I don't know. There's really not an order or structure to this video. That's why you've been here for so long. You are a trooper. Good for you. The second to last book series I have is The Folk of the Air.
The way it sounds like I'm being held at gunpoint to film this.
This series follows a girl named Jude who was kidnapped when she was younger, along with her siblings, and has been living in the world of fairy. That's home to her! And it's so much of a home to her that she wants to be a knight. In her quest for knighthood, she ends up being swept a lot deeper into the political side of fairy, and life becomes a lot more peril. It truly does. She was already a human. Now she is a human with a bigger target on her back. The Folk of the Air is a series that is filled to the brim with twists and turns and just the unexpected. You are never bored. And honestly, I have been kind of traumatized by some of the events that takes place in that book series. But I will still read it in one sitting like it's nothing. Holly Black has since ruined my life with many other books. And you know what? I should have known that she was about it. The girl has fake ears. Who else? Who else is doing it like her? So finally, the last series I have for you is the A Darker Shade of Magic series by V.E. Schwab. It follows a young man named Kel who is an Antari, which basically means that he not only controls the elements but also has the ability to travel between the worlds. In this case, there is one consistent landmark in them, and that is London. There's Red London, Grey London, White London, and Black London. Red London is where he's from, and it is booming with magic. Grey London is our world. It is a world that knows about magic but doesn't really believe in it anymore. White London is a world that has recently lost touch with magic and is now dying from it. And Black London is a world that was so overcome with magic that it eventually caused its end. To some, Black London is a myth or a legend that was created to simply warn children about the perils of too much magic. However, one day an item from Black London ends up in Kel's possession, and he is trying to put it back in order to save pretty much all the worlds. Just like The Raven Cycle, it took me a while to love this book. I read it once. I was not really a fan. Did not read the second book right away. Took me like 2 years to try it again. Loved it the second time around. I used to hate Cal. Me and him did not get along.
It's hair, whack. His gear, whack. His jewelry, whack. His footsteps, whack.
Literally, my book husband, my book boyfriend, my book soulmate. I once had a video idea to film my wedding to kill, but I thought that was going to be way too pathetic, so I just never went through with it. What I think is admirable about the Darker Shade of Magic series is that it uses so many things that we as readers have already seen. A person that controls the elements, traveling between worlds, and just other magical tropes, I guess you could say. However, it does it in such a unique way that it still feels fresh and new and something that you've never read before. And honestly, props to V.E. Schwab, because I never thought I could love a redhead, and now I'm basically married to one. Okay, so that is the end of my favorite book series of all time video. I am so happy that I finally did it. It's done. I'm over it, okay? In the past, I didn't think I would do a video like this, but now I'm living in the moment. And it's coming. And we can just thank God herself, Susan, for that. Thank you so much for watching this video, especially to its completion, because I just know it's about to be so long. So you are a true trooper, and you're lovely. Thank you. You're awesome. I love you. You are great, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye-bye.